Now broadcasting the Dr. Nilda Business Foresight Show, positioning your business with strategies for an extraordinary future. Dr. Nilda features expert guests from diverse backgrounds to bring you their stories and strategies that have helped them reach their success. The diversity in industries gives you that panoramic view from an array of industries. They are innovators, thought leaders, trendsetters, and strategists. Here, Dr. Nilda reveals strategies that will position you to be on the cutting edge and be able to do what you love with the people you like, making the profits you want to live the lifestyle that you have dreamed of. And now, here's your host, Dr. Nilda Perez.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Nilda Business Foresight Strategy Show. Today, I have with me Larry Mogelonsky and, of course, my co-host, Rachel. Say hello, Rachel.
Hello, everyone.
Larry is a civil engineer and packaged goods marketer. Larry has spent 30 years owning and operating a hospitality communications agency. He has sold that business and he's moved full-time into writing and public speaking in the hospitality industry. He has published 150 articles per month in 7 trade journals. He has 4 books on hotel marketing and management and over 1,000 articles in press. He is recognized as the most published author in the field. Larry travels across the globe personally inspecting an average of 35 hotels annually, and he does that on his own dime. So let's welcome Larry Mogelonsky. How are you, Larry? How are you this morning?
Just fantastic.
Okay, awesome. We're really excited to have you. You just bring such a wealth of knowledge, and I want to tap into some of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the questions.
Perfect.
Okay. So my first question is, what is the state of the hotel industry today?
I would say the state is good and bad, both at the same time. There's an outer crust where the hotel industry is seeing some fantastic growth over the past year. 2017 was a record year in almost every sector, but there's some decay underneath, and that decay is caused by some structural changes in the hotel industry, in particular pertaining to the sharing economy, or what we would call Airbnb.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so, because that must have had such an impact on the hotel industry, which for so many years was up and coming and really the go-to. If you were going to go away, you always look for a hotel. But that has really shifted with the air. And now there are so many others, but with the Airbnbs of the world, that has really made a difference. And that they offer the concierge, which was kind of what was missing at one time, not anymore.
Well, I'm going to use the word Airbnb, and I'm not kind of singling them out, but I'm suggesting to you that Airbnb represents a class of product. And I want to give you and your readers and listeners just a thought here. Airbnb did 100 million room nights in the United States in 2017.
Wow.
Airbnb did 300 million over the past 10 years. So 1/3 of their total business took place in the last year, and it is growing at rates far above and beyond anything that the hotel industry is reporting. And I want to give you another statistic, which is from a company called Swift Filings, and they looked at 200 industries across the country. And the good news is the lodging business saw a 33.9% growth over the years 2016 and 2017 versus the preceding period. You say, well, that's fantastic. But believe it or not, that is the lowest growth of all 200 industries that they looked at.
Really?
Yes. So although we may say, oh, it's growing, it is not. And the reason it's not growing has to do with Airbnb. Another study that's about to be released by Harvard Business Review looked at the impact of Airbnb in the top 10 cities in the United States. This study looked and compared the revenue impact of Airbnb. Again, it's about to be released in the next month or so. I'm looking at a draft, but it shows that Airbnb directly resulted in a 3.7% decline in profits in those cities. And those are the cities that had the top amount of Airbnb availability. Another perspective for you is this. Airbnb reports that they have 4.5 million rooms available worldwide at any one time. And I was in a conference a week or so ago, and they said, well, we're pushing on 5 million, and we only report every 500,000. The total sum of rooms available amongst the top chains, that would be Hilton, Marriott, which now includes Starwood, as well as IHG, is 2.15 million rooms. So Airbnb, in fact, is double the size of the largest hotel chains in the world.
Wow. Wow.
I love this. And you know what I really like about it is the fact that how they disrupted the industry. I love how Netflix came in and how the Uber, you know, the taxis just kind of totally took these industries and like tore them apart. I mean, and I know that you just mentioned the whole how Airbnb has impacted, you know, the hotel business, but you know, now I know that we're going into the future. Do you see something that, do you see anyone else coming into this same industry that could possibly like knock them out of the waters? Because I mean, or no, not even that. No, this is a question. What is it that they did that really, because I think that our audience needs to understand what kind of things that they did that really disrupted that industry, where hotels were at one point. I mean, you wanted to go to a 5-star. That was everyone's dream, to go to a 5-star. Now everyone's desire is like, I want to go have fun and I love Airbnb, or there's, I think someone else that's out there as well. Yeah. So what exactly?
VRBO is
VRBO
also,
was,
is becoming all the rage. Mm-hmm.
What is it that they did that got them to break through? What are, if you could give us some analogies?
Well, I think there's many answers there, and in fact, let's try and parse the question down, and let's simplify it into a few things. First of all, what do hotels not do? If you walk into a hotel and see a bottle of water with a price tag of $7 on it, you're smiling.
Yeah.
That the hotelier looks at it and says, "Oh, I can make more revenue." The guest looks and says, "Do you think I'm stupid?"
Right.
Because I'm not paying $7 for a 25-cent bottle of water.
Right.
And now I start questioning every single charge within the hotel. Over the past few years, hotels have been gifted in becoming efficient operators. They know how many bread rolls they put into a pan with which they serve you. They know exactly how many milliliters of shampoo to put in a bottle. They have trimmed and trimmed down, and as a result, it's like death by 1,000 drops of water. Eventually you drown. And that is what's happened to the consumer. Now, you mentioned at the same time, there are the 5-star experience. They've bucked the trend. They are looking at the guest and how the guest is having a terrific experience in their property, and their focus is on guest satisfaction. The average hotel's focus is on profitability, and as you know, that is a short-term recipe for long-term disaster.
Exactly. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience. I have to tell you, for the last I want to say maybe almost 3 years, I have been doing a lot of Airbnb for several different reasons. One of them is I actually feel safer. So safety for me was of utmost importance. But my experiences in Airbnbs or of the VRBOs of the world have been really, really pleasant. So, and it all depends. And of course, they probably charge a little bit more, and yet not even nearly what a hotel room would cost you for the service that you get. One of the places that we stayed at, they actually had the refrigerator filled. The woman called me a couple of days before we left and said, "Is there anything, I know you're coming in late, is there anything you want me to pick up for you so that I can have in the refrigerator so that in the morning you can have breakfast?" After that, And so there are small little things that they do that make a big difference, and they make you feel safe. You can park right up front of the home. They tell you what's in the area. All of those things started making a difference, and I started evaluating that against a hotel room, and that was, they by far they did so much better. So a couple of weeks ago, we stayed at a hotel, and we asked for whatever. We had to pick up something really quick, and they gave us a bagel. I bought a bagel. So I said, "Can you put butter?" And they were like, "Well, for the butter, we have to charge extra." Really?
That's disgusting.
Really? This is a 5-star hotel. I don't want to mention the name. It was a 5-star hotel. So for the bagel, and the bagel was, of course, a lot more expensive than if you would have picked it up at a bagel shop. Mm-hmm. And then they wanted to charge 50 cents for the butter, which, by the way, was like maybe a pat of butter. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
The water bottle syndrome again.
Right.
But let's back up just a little bit. It all starts with the initial booking and how a consumer selects their accommodation. So let's go through this really quickly. If you are booking a hotel, you might elect to go directly to the hotel site, or alternately, you might elect to go to what's known as an OTA, or online travel agent, such as Media or Priceline. They're both very good products. Hotels.com. They're all of them. You look at a number of hotels, and you kind of open a second window, perhaps with TripAdvisor on your computer, because you want to see what the ratings are, to see what people are saying. Already there's the complication. Then you might even open a third screen or look at Trivago to see what the various prices are, because sometimes there's different prices on different online travel agencies.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do you notice a complication here? I already do. I have to open 3 screens to attempt to make a decision.
Right.
I go to Airbnb and I select my destination, and all of a sudden I'm in a new world. It's fun. They expose a map of the entire city. I'm able to choose the location that's close to, let's say, where my office is going to be or where I have to go. Right. Or perhaps I want to be in a downtown area or a park. I can zoom in on the location, and then I can click on the particular Airbnb availabilities, and I see 2-way ratings. Not only do I see a rating of the individual accommodation from people who stayed there, but I also can see a rating of the person who owns the accommodation of the person who stayed. So if the person said it was lousy, the individual can respond and say yes, and they left cigarettes all over the place, and it's a non-smoking facility.
Right.
So we have this 2-way accountability, which goes, one, towards your security comment, because I feel good because I'm already establishing a one-on-one relationship with the owner of that property. And that gives me a sense of warmth and a feeling that it's a somebody. It's not just a computer that I'm talking to.
Exactly.
And that's just one second. It's relationships, and one-on-one relationships that hotels cannot compete with. It's very difficult.
So let me ask you this. In the sharing economy between hotels and places like Airbnb, and given the experiences that Dr. Nilda and I have experienced, and then what you just said, how are they handling this? Because they're not, I don't think hotels are being proactive at this point if they're not, if they're not helping, to stay in business. Are they trying to somewhat sabotage themselves?
Well,
right. You know what, Rach, that's a good question.
You're laughing and I laugh too, because my first book, I sold about 5,000 copies of it, and I guess that makes it a pretty good seller in the industry, was called Are You an Ostrich or a Llama? And it was directed at the hotel industry, and I believe the hotels have moved into the ostrich mode. They're hoping if they bury their head in the sand that nothing will happen. And the opposite is a llama, who, as you may not know, is a very highly utilitarian animal that basically can do everything. They'll mind your kids, they'll protect your house, you can use their wool. My goodness, you can probably drink llama milk, I suspect. They're fantastic, very smart, and I'm encouraging hoteliers to be llamas, not ostriches. we are going to see a massive change in the hotel industry. The good news is that if you have a smaller hotel, which can create that personalized feeling of a one-on-one relationship amongst the hotel and the guest, you're fine. If you have a resort with specialized facilities, you're fine. If you are a boutique hotel that has some very special attributes, such as an incredible design, or you're in a historic location, you're fine. You're also fine if you're an airport hotel where people are, arriving in and staying over and they don't really care. They just want a clean bed and a good night's sleep. You're fine. All the rest, you're not so fine. And you're in real trouble because, quite frankly, Airbnb is also morphing into a much bigger company than before because they have opened 3 new facilities, which were only 2 of them have been announced. One of them's coming up. First was Airbnb for Work. You perhaps have not heard of this. It was only launched last month. But Airbnb for Work is a curated plan that allows companies to set limits on what type of stays Airbnb, their employees can stay in Airbnb, and manages the entire process for them so the guest doesn't have to pay. It's paid by the corporation. Moreover, there is an intranet which allows the corporation to manage where they can stay, and if a employee wants to stay an extra night because it's a weekend, they can get it authorized immediately through the portal. You say, well, it's just new, but they're starting with 150,000 corporations have signed up, including most of the Fortune 500.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing they launched is Airbnb Plus, which right now is only in 2,000. They have 2,000 properties in 13 cities. They expect to have 50,000 properties rather in 200 cities by the end of 2018. And this is a guaranteed product which says that you will have a coffee maker, you will have coffee, you will have towels, you will have great amenities, you'll have an easy way to get in, everything you expect. And the third item they're launching is Airbnb Experiences, which will be totally curated vacations where you have a concierge who will plan every single part of your day and your stay, which means there goes the need for a travel agent.
That is so up the alley of the hotel industry at this point, right? I'm sure. They're there just, giving you the towels and just,
And just imagine all we get from hotels is
you barely get towels.
You do get towels in good places. You get towels, but you can't curate an experience.
Exactly. Okay. And so on that note, that's going to be my next question, because hotels really need the consumer has really changed the way that they want things. And the consumer really, it's that demand, right? Supply and demand. And the demand now is that consumers want to have an experience, whether they're buying a cup of coffee or they're staying in a hotel for several days. They want experience. And that's the one thing that Airbnb, when we opened up, what did I say? Our experience was lovely. Our experience to this day, for many of our stays, we still have a relationship with those people. So guess what? If I go back, I'm going to go there because of the experience. Is the hotel looking at this as a consumer need, and are they ready to address that? Because right now that is really all the rage. Like, people will not stay in a place that they're not going to get that experience.
You're so correct. It's I think you should join the board of a major hotel chain and be a little bit of a disruptor.
You've got it. I am all over that. Absolutely. Because this is what I teach. People no longer buy a product or a service. And as much as I know that people talk a lot about, they have to know and like you. And that has its relevance. But the reality is people want an experience. How is this going to make me feel? What is this going to do for me? And do I feel safe? Do I feel comfortable? What do I feel? And so that's been the big shift. And so a company that's not ready to make that shift with the consumer is really taking some major steps back.
Well, they're taking some risks with the long-term viability of their franchise.
Absolutely.
There are some other complications here, and some of them are a little bit technical, but it goes this way. We think of a Hilton or a Hyatt or a Marriott, and we think that the hotel is them, but it's not. They're what's known in the business as a flag or a brand. Very typically, I would say in most of these situations, the hotel is owned by an independent. A REIT perhaps might own the hotel, or an individual who as an investment. They own the physical product. The brand is a franchise which they bought, which attracts a franchise fee. The brand doesn't even run the hotel. The hotel is run by a management company who compensated on a formula that includes mostly top line, perhaps some bottom line. It depends on the management company. You have three different parties here, and the guest is looking on the outside saying they think they're talking to the general manager of a hotel, but that general manager might be an employee of the management company, has nothing to do with the brand, and certainly has very little to do with the owner. And all three have different objectives, and the owner is getting the kids that are operating the hotel are different than the kids who are staying. And the whole thing just gets crazy and crazy.
Okay. So my next question is the response to the Airbnbs enough to keep the future of the hotel industry alive?
The hotel industry will survive. It will not be the same as it is today, and it will fractionalize into smaller units. This is my hypothesis. Smaller units where people care. There's one other crazy idea I have for the hotel industry, and that is, with all these hotels that are not going to be used because people are going to Airbnb, we have a tremendous opportunity to create assisted living homes for the generation called baby boomers who don't have enough money to stay in their houses and perhaps don't want to. They can move into assisted living programs, which are created by the great hotel chains looking at ways to utilize the asset, that physical asset. That's the future.
Okay. Well, I think that would at least keep them in business. I think that would be great. I mean, even if they have to change their way of marketing, but still, I think that would be a great, at least they're in business.
Remember one thing, that the goal of these major hotel brands, we say, is to sell more franchises. That's why they have so many brands. I believe that Marriott Starwood has 30 brands right now, and I dare say I wouldn't be able to name them because a lot of them are very specialized and perhaps they're not supported in any way beyond a website.
Okay.
Okay.
So the future of the hotel, as you see it, will probably be more of assisted living and more boutique hotels, motels.
I think what they'll be doing is they'll add assisted living as an additional, shall we say, brand amongst their stable of brands. Many hotels will survive because there's some good, smart people working in hotels, and these smart people will come to the realization that they have to modify their products and their services to meet the very considerable change in needs of the guests. It's not just good enough to have air conditioning and a clean bed. That's not enough anymore. The guest wants to have a personalized and customized experience that makes them feel good about the selection.
Absolutely. So again, experience. That's what customers want today. So, again, the hotel industry still has the opportunity, even though they're a little bit late in the game, but it's not late enough that they're lagging that far behind. So
I have confidence.
Name the board. I'll be there.
I have confidence that they will wake up and take their head out of the sand at some point in time and start to make changes. It won't happen quickly. These are large organizations. And as I mentioned, there's a multi-party decision-making here amongst owner-operators and management companies. But ultimately, I have great confidence in the boards of these organizations to deliver a great product, because ultimately, the world of hospitality has to do with being hospitable to your guest. And you can't forget the fact that if we fail to do that, we're no longer hoteliers, we're accountants, and accountants don't run a guest-facing organization.
Absolutely. Okay. So I want to thank you so much, Larry, for being here with us. We definitely love this topic. This is very interesting to our listenership. And, I know that I'm very hopeful for the hotel, for the hotel industry. And I really want them to come back, because there is a lot that they have, which is really good. But, again, they have to come back quickly. And this happens a lot with large organizations. They're so top heavy, and it's really difficult to get things done. It's almost like an elephant. It's hard to move them.
The big challenge is quarterly earnings results, right? And if you want to take a one-time charge and do that, Wall Street has some decision making. But again, Wall Street is very smart too, and they'll recognize they're in it for the long term. And if you have some short-term issues, they're prepared to adjust as well.
Okay. Awesome. So I want to thank you so much for your time and for being here with us. And we look forward to any updates that you have. Let us know, and we'll bring you right back on the show. We'd love to see you again.
Eager to do it. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you. All right then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Foresight Strategy Show. You can hear host Dr. Nilda, co-host Rachel with featured guests every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live or anytime on demand. Visit www.drnildaperez.com/show. For more information, sign up to our Foresight Strategies Insider newsletter, a $10 value for free at www.drnildaperez.com/newsletter.